Well, good morning, students. Today, I intend to discuss a letter to God by G.L. Fontes, Mexican writer who wrote a story about a farmer who was a simpleton. Once he lost his entire harvest due to natural calamity, and he could think of nothing, no one else but God to help him in that situation. So he wrote a letter to God without knowing the address of God or anything. He simply wrote God over the envelope and he posted it. The letter was received by a postmaster who initially laughed but later was impressed by his belief in God, and he believed it was hard to find and decided to help the farmer. And the climax of the story reveals what was the end result of this. So let's start by introducing Mr. Fontes. Once again, I told you, Mexican writer. He was born in 1895. Gregorio Lopez Y. Fontes. He was born in November 17, 1897, not 1895 actually it is, and died on December 10, 1966, was a Mexican novelist, poet and a journalist. He was one of the leading chroniclers of Mexican Revolution. Lopez Y. Fontes was born in a ranch called El Momi in the Huasteca region of Veracruz in 1895. In his youth, he spent much time in his father's general store, where he came in contact with the Indians, farmers, and the laborers of the region, whose lives he later described in his books. After unsuccessful efforts at poetry and novels, he began to draw upon his experiences in the Mexican Revolution. Now, let's begin with the summary, then we'll go after the detailed explanation of each paragraph. Lenko was a dedicated farmer. He was expecting a decent harvest. However, to his grief, a hailstorm came and destroyed his harvest completely. Lenko was very sad. However, he had a strong belief in God. He was certain that God would help him. Also, he was an extremely straightforward man. Although working for a long time on the farm, he knew writing. Thus, he composed a letter to God. In the letter, he asked God to send him 100 pesos. At that point, he went to the post office and put his letter into the post box. The postman removed the letter from the letter box. He read the address on it and laughed very much. Also, he rushed to the postmaster and demonstrated to him the strange letter. Moreover, the postmaster also laughed in the same way when he saw the address of God. However, on reading the letter, he got very serious. He lauded this man who had unquestioned faith in God and decided to help him in terms of money. He asked the employees of the post office to give charity. Moreover, he gave a part of his salary too. However, they were able to collect only a little more than 50 pesos as requested for by Lenko. The postmaster put the money in an envelope. It was addressed to Lenko. On Sunday, Lenko once again came to the post office. He asked if there was a letter for him. The postmaster took out the letter and handed it to Lenko. Lenko was not surprised after seeing the money, but when he counted the money, he became angry on God. He was sure that God could not have made a mistake. He took paper and ink and wrote one more letter to God. Then he put it into the letter box. After Lenko had left the place, the postmaster and the employees read the letter. In it, Lenko had complained to God that he had received only 70 pesos. Also, he requested God to send him the rest of the money this time. However, he asked God not to send the money through the mail. He wrote that the post office employees were a bunch of crooks and thus might have stolen the money. There you see the irony at the end. The people who helped Lenko were called crooks by or thieves by Lenko. The story ends with an irony. It shows the simpleton didn't have the sense to realize having faith in God is not enough. We should also have faith in humanity. And that idea he didn't miss. He had complete mistrust in complete mistrust in humanity. He could have easily assumed that if God has sent me this money, then God thinks this amount of money is good enough for me. But he didn't. He was a simpleton. He had made up his mind he needed 100 pesos and he thought since his demand was justified, God must send him 100 pesos. And he had no faith in humanity without any proof or concrete evidence. He straight away accused the post office employees of stealing his money because when God sent the money to him, it reached the post office first and nobody else but the post office workers were to be blamed for the money being lesser than what Lenko had expected. So, conclusion. What conclusion do we draw? We learned that faith has the power to give us what we want, to fulfill our needs. However, one must realize that humanity still prevails. Right? Now, detailed explanation, paragraph wise. Let's begin it. If you read the paragraph initially, you will see that the author has tried to create a vivid image of the place where Lincoln lived, the surrounding, the rivers. He has mentioned it all, and the cornfields, and how did they look from a distance. And he has also given a description of the personality of Lenko, what kind of a person Lenko was. Right, so you will get a few character traits of him, which is important for you to note. Lenko, the farmer, lived on the only house that was there on the top of a hill. The hill was low heighted. From there, a river and a ready to harvest cornfield were visible. The field belonged to Lenko, and he had the utmost confidence that the harvest would reap great profits. The only thing that he awaited was rainfall. In this hope, he spent an entire morning gazing at the sky in the northeast direction from where the drizzle was expected to shower on his field. Now, this explains a picturesque description of the site where Lenko's house and field were located. It was top of a hill. Then from there you could see river and ready to harvest cornfield. Right. Now the harvest was supposed to be good and Lenko expected to reap huge benefits from it. But he required one good rainfall. And for that he had been waiting patiently throughout the day, gazing towards the sky, hoping for a drizzle. He was particularly looking in the northeast direction. That means he knew his fields inside out. He knew from which side or which direction rainfall was expected. The man, while looking at the sky, confidently tells his wife that they are going to have a rain shower, to which the lady replies by saying only if everything happens as they hope and expect. The elder children were working at the field and the younger ones were playing near the house when Lenko's wife calls everyone for dinner. Right. It is during that time drops of rain begin to fall, hereby proving the farmer's prediction to be true. The wind was pleasant and clouds could be seen approaching from northeast sky. Lenko goes out of the house to take pleasure in feeling the droplets on his body. He refers to the drizzle as coins, large droplets being equivalent to 10 cents and smaller one 5 cents. He says so because these raindrops would ensure good crop, which could eventually get him a lot of money. On seeing everything go as expected, Lenko reflected upon the field and the flowers covered with droplets which seemed as if they were wrapped in a curtain. Unexpectedly, strong winds started blowing, leading to a hailstorm. Satirically, the writer refers to these pellets of frozen rain as new silver coins. The innocent boys became playful and went out in the rain to play and collect these hailstones which looked like frozen pearls. The farmer now starts worrying and hopes that the storm gets over quickly, which to his utmost disappointment didn't. The hailstone covered the entire valley, including the house, garden, hillside, and the cornfield. It made everything look so white that it seemed as if it was covered with salt. Lenko became stressed and disappointed as everything went against the plan. The trees had shed their leaves, corns were smashed, and the flowers had also fallen from their plants. While standing in the withered field, he conveyed his dismay and sorrow to his sons by commenting that the effect of storm proved to be worse than the crop destroying insects. All this hard work had gone in vain. He felt helpless as no corn had been left and feared that they might have to starve this time. So this will be all for you. Till we meet again in our next video. You children, take good care of yourself, stay at home and study hard, prepare for your boards. Best of luck.